the conviction of murderers. That's what happened today. The Ahmaud Arbery killers have been convicted. Now, let me give you some background because justice has not fully been served. There's still more to go. So the jury came back with various guilty verdicts that included malice murder, felony murder, aggravated assault, false imprisonment, and criminal attempt to commit a felony, okay? The lion's share of those convictions goes to the man who actually pulled the trigger, and that was Travis McMichael. So count one, malice murder, Travis McMichael was guilty according to the jury, but Gregory McMichael and William Bryan not guilty. For count two of felony murder, Travis McMichael guilty, Gregory McMichael guilty, and William Bryan not guilty. On count three of felony murder, all of them guilty. Count four of felony murder, all of them guilty. Count five, felony murder, all of them guilty. Count six, aggravated assault, Travis McMichael, Gregory McMichael guilty, William Bryan not guilty. Count seven, aggravated assault, all guilty. Count eight, false imprisonment, all guilty. Count nine, criminal intent to commit a felony, all guilty. Now, I need to remind you how this started. This young man jogging in a community was chased down by three white criminals. These white criminals were armed and dangerous, and then another one had a recording to record it for kicks, okay? They murdered him. After they killed him, 911, the emergency responders, they come. The police do not even require a justification for this dead body because they know the McMichaels. Remember, the father-son duo, of that duo, the father worked for the DA as an investigator. The district attorney of that time decided to utilize her massive influence and not prosecute this case, to cover it up. It was not even a story. It finally got some local attention, and then roughly a month after, started to get national traction. The DA has been indicted for covering this up. That's how deep it goes. During the trial, you saw the obvious racist tactics of the defense attorneys. I have to commend this jury of majority white people, for not falling for the racism and racist tactics of the defense. Now, here's what's going to happen. Sentencing is coming, obviously. Let me give you some idea of what can happen. The Georgia jury returned this verdict. Count of malice murder in Georgia is punishable by life imprisonment with or without the possibility of parole. Count of felony murder is punishable by life imprisonment with or without the possibility of parole. Aggravated assault is punishable by up to 20 years in prison. False imprisonment, up to 10 years in prison. Criminal attempt to commit a felony, 1 to 5 years in prison. All right, so that's some of the background. Here's the decision.
Verdict is as follows. In the Superior Court of Glenn County, state of Georgia, the state of Georgia versus Travis McMichael, case number CR 000433. Jury verdict form. Count one, malice murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. I'm gonna ask that whoever.
Okay, and that was the individual who actually pulled the trigger. Ben, what are your thoughts here with this verdict?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a sigh of relief because we all saw how the Kyle Rittenhouse trial went. And I think a lot of us were rightfully scared that this trial might have gone the same way. And I feel like anybody that has seen the video, it feels like a pretty clear-cut case. I'm obviously not a lawyer, but it felt like clear-cut to me, but there was still that like underlying fear that the jury would side with these people and let them off. But luckily we didn't see that outcome. And I guess that's a shred of hope. But when it comes to like the DA and everything that you saw beforehand, like it's important to remember that there's small towns all across America where this is a systemic problem, and maybe it should be more than just this one instance that's looked into, and maybe this should hopefully be like a springboard to maybe take a look at the local leaders in police departments and district attorneys around the country.
That's right. If it had not been for Black Lives Matter protesters who went to Brunswick, Georgia, made the world pay attention to it, made media look at it, you never would have gotten an indictment for the DA. You never would have gotten an arrest for the McMichaels or Bryan. You never would have gotten any of that, because remember, this was already covered up. And this was a month later when we actually knew what happened in that local jurisdiction. It was because of activists. It was because of people like you who watched this show that made it possible for justice to actually move in the right direction. All right, so we're gonna continue to follow this. I'm trying not to be celebratory, and here's why. As Black folks, we should not celebrate things that should be normative. If somebody chases down your child, kidnaps them, basically false imprisonment, kills them, and then gets convicted of what they did, that should not be a celebration. That's normal, everyday justice system stuff. That's how it should work for everybody. But we have become so indoctrinated to unfairness in the injustice system that we celebrate what should be normal. And I'm trying to be careful not to be that guy. Obviously, we are glad it's moving in the right direction.